Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Phelan, good to see you again. I enjoyed our visit. A report came out this morning at 10 o'clock, so nobody's had a chance to really see it, but I would recommend it to you. It's from the GAO, and the title of it is Shipbuilding and Repair, Navy Needs a Strategic Approach for Private Sector Industrial Base Investments. And I'm just going to read you on page 67, the opening paragraph of the conclusion. Problems in Navy shipbuilding and repair have remained relatively unchanged over the past decades. Programs are not achieving cost and schedule goals, and as a result, the battle force is not sufficiently modernized and ready to meet national security needs. These problems are in part because the ship industrial base faces workforce and infrastructure challenges that put the Navy's goals out of reach. And here is the part I really wanted to read. Yet the Navy continues to expect different performance outcomes in the coming years than it has achieved in the past. There is no basis for expecting industrial base outcomes to improve without changes from the Navy that would motivate a different level of private industry investment and performance. I'd like to introduce the report for the record, Mr. Chair.
Without objection and with a hear.
Yes.
It is so ordered.
And I think that this is something you're going to want to read, although much of it seems to track things that we discussed. You're a non-traditional appointee for this position, and that can be okay if the tradition is not working. And I think the punchline in this report is the tradition isn't working. I explained to you that having been on the committee now in my 13th year and always been in the sea power space, that I've kind of operated on the assumption that if we just do our job here on the resource side, the Navy and our innovative private sector will deliver a product successfully, and I've been wrong in that assumption. It's not worked. I mean, last year, we not only had a robust defense budget, but we joined together in a bipartisan way twice in the year to bulk it up, once in the April supplemental package, and then once at the end of the year. So just putting more money into the bucket without changing how we're doing things, I now have completely lost confidence that that's going to solve the problem. So that leads me back to you. You're a non-traditional nominee, but you're nominated for a position where the tradition doesn't seem to be working. And so that makes me intrigued with what you might do differently than has been done in the past. When the president asked you to do the job, I know you guys, I don't want to really get into the substance so much, but he asked you for a reason. There were other people he could have asked. In the discussions with the president, what do you understand to be his priorities for the Navy and why he would think that you would be the right person to carry out those priorities?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. I did enjoy our meeting as well. I don't think I could say shipbuilding enough times in terms of the president's priorities, as he's made it very clear. I think what is missing from what I can see is a sense of urgency. It's kind of, we're just going along and it's kumbaya. And it's almost as if you're waiting for a crisis to happen to ignite things. And I think in the business of warfare, that's a dangerous place to be. So I think why the president selected me is I will bring a sense of urgency to this. I will bring a sense of accountability to this. I'm good at setting up feedback loops. I'm good at creating accountability and making sure people execute. I'm good at rewarding performance. You perform, you move up. And I think those are all things that need to happen and need to be looked at again. And I think that sense of urgency is important. You know, again, I jokingly mentioned earlier in the hearing, the president did text me, I think it was 1:18 in the morning, of like 3 rusty ships in the yard, and said, what are you doing about this? This is terrible. How can this exist? Mm-hmm. He's very focused. You know, Senator Wicker initially asked, do I still want the job after hearing everything? He's a demanding man who wants things done, and it will be a challenge. But I think the Navy needs to recognize that. And I think one of the keys is you have to develop a strategy and a vision. And then you basically have to come up with a force goal. So that strategy is going to drive the force goal. So you sit down with the combatant commanders and come up with a force goal. And then you've got to do it, make it affordable. So we're going to need to make trade-offs. You're going to need to look at what's working, what's not working, what legacy systems no longer matter. What other conflicts have we seen things happen that is going to inform what we should do?
I'll say on that one, one virtue of being a newcomer to this in some ways is you're not attached to a legacy system because it was the system that you trained on and that you have a particular loyalty to. I'm over time, but I'll just say this to conclude. I'm heartened to hear, I don't mind criticizing the president when I think he's wrong, but when I think he's right, I'll say it, and I think shipbuilding is a focus, shipbuilding and ship repair. And one of the little pluses in this report is they actually say that we've gotten better at ship repair in the last 5 years. Still got a long ways to go, but we actually have shown some improvement. So there may be some improvement strategies that we could think about and then, apply to shipbuilding. I'd love to go with you down to the shipyard in Norfolk sometime, the public shipyard and the Huntington Ingalls shipyard where we build carriers and subs. With that, Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Look forward to that.
I think you'll be doing a good bit of traveling to shipyards, Mr. Phelan. At this point, I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record